Hello, Pokemaniacs! This is Al Cheshire Canes coming at you today with Greninja BREAK. Now, if you don't know about this deck, you probably should know about this deck because it is definitely a tier 1 deck and it's very popular amongst the kids, amongst everyone really. I'm just blowing smoke up here. So with this particular deck, it's all around discarding your water energies basically. That's at least one line of play. So Greninja EX is a 170 HP break Pokemon. Do we call these Pokemons? Overlay? Whatever. Anyway, he does Giant Water Shuriken, which is discard one water energy card from your hand once per turn to deal 60 damage to any of your opponent's Pokemon, active or bench. Don't apply weakness. Pretty amazing, pretty good, really good HP, and you base it around these two Greninjas. So the first one is the Breakpoint Greninja, which is Shadow Stitching for 40, 130 HP Pokemon obviously. So for one colorless, which you're probably never going to play a colorless in this deck anyway, until the end of your opponent's next turn, each Pokemon your opponent has in play in his or her hand and in his or her discard pile has no abilities. Alright, so that is amazing. It just shuts your opponent's Pokemon abilities down. Just locks them out. It does 40 damage. It's not bad, especially for one energy. You'd chuck a Muscle Band on there, you're doing 60 damage, so that's pretty good. Moon Knight Slash is a 60 plus attack. Now the reason there's a plus is because when you actually use the attack, you can choose to get a water energy from this Pokemon, put it back into your hand and do an extra 20 damage. Not bad. You can do 60 to 80 damage. If you've got a Muscle Band, you can do 80 to 100 damage. So that is pretty stellar. Now in this particular copy of the deck, and I think this was, which regionals did this win? I think it was one of the France ones, perhaps, one of the American ones. I think it was a France deck. A deck from France. We've got Water Shuriken. So again, Greninja, 130 HP, Stage 2 Pokemon. So you discard a water from your hand to put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. The second attack, which is Mist Slash for 50, which isn't great, but it's only 1 energy for 50 damage, which is pretty great. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance or any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. It essentially just cuts through, no matter what. No matter what. So even if you had a special energy on there and they used, I don't know, the Jirachi promo, it would cut through it. That is pretty brilliant. The idea of the deck is to get to Frogadier at least, and then Water Duplicate. So Frogadier is a 70 HP Pokemon, of course, and it is from Breakpoint. Search your deck for up to 3 Frogadier and put them onto your bench, shuffle your deck. Pretty simple. You basically want to try and get out Frogadiers as fast as possible and then evolve through onto your Greninjas and your Breaks. One copy of Jirachi, that's pretty obvious. That's really good against a number of decks. Night March is going to be a terror no matter what you play, but this has a good matchup against Night March. Not fantastic, not bad, but good. Night March has Hex Maniac, which they just play over and over and over just to start for you basically. Stop you using your abilities, that's fine. You can still get past with plenty of damage. Jirachi's in here because of special energy. I think we all know this Pokemon by now and I don't think I need to explain it, so we won't. Of course, we're running Octillery in this deck because the more water Pokemon the better, and you'll see why once we tell you what the stadium is. But of course, Octillery is a good draw engine for when you get down low in hand and you can just Abyssal Hand. This particular version of the deck I have been testing. I do not like it as much as other versions of this deck because it has no way to get Octillery back on the bench. If it gets put out there by Lysander, that's it, you're going to lose it. So I need to tinker with this one. I think this was a variation actually on the UK Nationals Top 8 Greninja deck. So it's pretty good and it's pretty solid, but it has its weaknesses. For Dive Balls, pretty obvious. Go searching for a water Pokemon, bam, all good. This particular deck runs Energy Retrieval and just one of. Because obviously putting 2 basic water energy cards from your discard pile in your hand is pretty pertinent to be able to use your abilities over and over and attach to your Pokemon or whatever you want to do. Evosoda. Now this is actually a bit of a tech card against, what was it? Archeops? Because this helps you evolve around Archeops' ability. So it can be really handy. It can also be good just to fetch one of your evolutions and play it onto one of your Froggies. Should have just called it Frogadier. One Level Ball. Now Level Ball is only in here just as a search. You can search out almost anything in your deck, except for obviously Greninja and Greninja BREAK. Everything else is fair game, including your Octilleries. So yeah. We've got Professor's Letter. They help us fuel the hand to get some more water energy. We're only playing one, of course. Tech card, only one Rare Candy. Now this is because the amount of item blocking decks out there at the moment, and that is expected at national championships and regional championships at the moment. Championships. Because obviously having more Rare Candies is, although great, not so great when you're item blocked and you can't play them and they're just going to stuff your hand. One Sacred Ash. This is to pull back your Greninjas and your Greninja breaks. Desperation times, you can get back your Froakies and stuff as well if you need to. Trainers Mail just helps you with a bit of filtering to go through and try and find the trainer cards you need at the time. One Ultra Ball. Yep, one Ultra Ball. It can search out anything at the cost of 2 cards, which is both yay and nay for this particular deck. That we'll explain in a second as well, because that is dirty tricks. Versus Seeker, we play 4 versus Seeker because we've got enough supporters, especially with Fisherman. Fisherman goes through and grabs up to 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile, show them to your opponent, put them in your hand. That's to get your water energy back, because you're going to be discarding a lot of water energy, and I almost said something that I can't say. We've got 2 N. N is alright, but there's times where you don't want to play it. So just because N is legal doesn't mean you have to play it. I kind of feel like the amount of times that I've got these Ns, because we're only playing 2 of course, has been nearing the end of the game, or times when I don't want to end the opponent when they've only got 1 Pokemon out and I've had to just to draw cards. I would suggest actually going with Birch's Observation, and I know that that's a really bad thing to say because it's a really not so great card in the new environment, but for you, test it out. I would suggest Observation personally. We've got 4 Sycamore. That's pretty obvious. Burn your hand, draw a bunch of cards, play it once you don't have stuff in your hand you need to play is probably the better idea. Wally is fantastic because Wally will help you accelerate all of your evolutions, especially on, say, turn 1. If you can Wally a Froakie into a Frogadier, is just simply fantastic. Against some particular matchups, again, like Archeops, it can be really amazing. Against other matchups where you really need to get that breakout as soon as possible, again, Wally is just amazing, especially when you can go Wally, your turn, versus Seeker, get the Wally, play the Wally, get the breakout, start discarding cards. Just amazing. We do run 3 Rough Seas. Now, the version of this that I played at the recent regionals, where I bombed pretty spectacularly, and anyone that's seen me play knows that I don't play too badly for somebody who's just come back to the game, but I didn't play any Rough Seas in that deck. That was not the deck builder's fault, that was my fault, absolutely. My friend Vice from Queensland, Brisbane, Vice Corden, if you go and follow him on the Twitches, he does some really good videos about Pokemon TCGO, and you should go and follow him. But the deck that I borrowed off him was just hasty. Within like 3 days he'd managed to trade for and chuck together a deck for me, because that's what friends are for. I owe you some sake, my friend, when you come down for nationals, when we're all hanging out. The old Brisbane crew, we are going to get absolutely wrecked, and it's going to be great. Anyway, this is a tech card for you. Can help your opponent, unfortunately, if they're playing the Mega Manetric deck, or another Greninja BREAK deck, or the list goes on and on. But for you, this is a fantastic card. This allows you to get the time you need to start knocking out your opponent's Pokemon. there are some matchups where Rough Seas is just going to be the bomb diggity against things like the Mega Alakazam deck that I play. Rough Seas is a really rough card. Now, the reason being is because I'm going to get out Rough Seas, and I'm going to get at least one healing off. Doesn't matter with your 4-dimension belly. I don't care. I'm going to remove that first burst of damage that you could have possibly done, and now you're going to be dead in the water. Oh, bad water puns, man. Bad water puns. Let's not do that. With the energy, we are running 8 basic water energy. Now, you can play that other water energy, which is called something or other that I don't remember, that's in here somewhere. By time until I can find it. Oh, goodness, I should have been prepared for this one. There is a special water energy, that one, that you can play. I do not suggest playing Splash Energy. Yes, it seems really good, doesn't it? It's fantastic. But you can't get it back with Fisherman. You can't get it back with Energy Retrieval. There is no better reason to not play them and just play basics. Just play basics. I don't think I've ever said that to anyone with a deck that I've played before, but please just play the basics. You will thank me later. That is the deck. It is a fantastic deck, and it really is a lot of fun to play, even though it's a tier 1 deck and it's a bit kind of uninteractive. It's really, I guess, sort of like a combo-y aggro deck. Just not that aggro, but more combo. But overall, I've been having some real good success with this. As I was saying, I need to find something in here to snip out, because I feel like it needs like a float stone or something like that. But I mean, there's plenty of decks out there that unfortunately have things that will shut off you playing items anyway. So I haven't figured out what that is yet. I rarely ever use the Jirachi, to be honest. And I know it's a tech card, but the amount of times it comes out as a basic and I don't want it out is phenomenal. Anyway, what we'll do is we might go in and play some games, and I will talk to you soon, and there will be another video up very soon.